Welcome to One Word Today. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue unpacking shelter-related Chinese characters. Mi is today's character. It's another 3 parts Chinese character. Made in the middle, the top, let's say, is the shelter we talked about so many times. That's the roof, the cover with a chimney on the top. And then the middle means certainty. The bottom is bug or worm. Chinese didn't distinguish the two. And so we know it's related to a type of worm. But what is certainty here? That seems like too abstract to attach to something physical as a worm. All right, together it means honey. And we know honey is made by the bees. So the worm there, or a bug or insect, makes sense, right? It talks about the bee. Then the top, the middle here, the certainty. Well, it's the sound maker as well. It's pronounced bee. So now together, 3 things stack up together becomes me. And this bee, the certainty, is expressed by this ancient weaponry with sharp edges. There is kind of a dagger, the spear. And then the 2 sides there. We've seen this separation on number 8 on separation. the separation concept in Chinese actually replaced this weapon with a knife in the middle. So, another weapon. And that's separation. And so here we just switch out the weapon. What is separating these 2 pieces? We use the spear. So why that means certainty? According to scholars, and I so far agree on this hypothesis of why it means certainty, because certainty is such a abstract thinking of humans. How do we know something is certain? Well, according to scholars, this means the polarization process. That means with this weapon, you make sure the 2 sides are separated, cut into half or into 2 parts, into opposing, like 2 polars. So Chinese have this philosophy from the beginning that at the beginning there's this one big thing, the great axis, Tai Ji, and then it was split into 2. And then we have this yin and yang, this 2 forces. And the 2 forces form a certain tension and dynamics. And therefore, we start to have the motion, have changes, have movement, because we have this polarization process. So here, the certainty is associated with this polarization because we know it's certain that's certain of the certainty, right? We know the world keeps changing, and that's a certainty. And to express that, we use this polarization process to show that in the end, or in the process, things are going to separate it into at least 2 parts. And that is the construct of what certainty is about. So the separation of the 2 polars with a spear. That paired with this shelter image actually make the sense of similar to the shelter place unmarried girl imagery of if you have a daughter under that shelter, it's guaranteed that's a safe place. It's kind of a reverse engineering. You see this scenery, and you know it must be a safe place. Otherwise, you won't put your daughter in there. Okay. In a similar meaning that this certainty put under the shelter, together it means safety or quiet or calm, like nothing going on. It's certain. And I guess certainty gives you the predictability, gives you the sense of calm, because you don't need to wonder what's going to happen next. And that's where the source of calmness come from. the sense of safety and security and certainty. It's all pointing to the same direction, the same sense. And ironically, that when paired with the bug or worm or insect symbol means honey, means honeybee. We know bees are constantly moving and they are not quiet at all. But here, ironically, Chinese put this quiet, calm, certain imagery together with the insect to create a concept of honey bee. I don't know what's the logic there. Maybe ancient bees doesn't make sound. Doesn't make sense, right? As long as they fly, they will make this sound, the buzzing. Yeah, we even have a buzzword for this particular sound that bees make, right? So it's a known fact anywhere. So that's the logic jump. I don't know why this certainty plus the bug becomes honeybee. Maybe this bug certainty came from the long time observed behavior of the bees, certainly would produce honey, and that's a certainty. Okay, all guesswork. Okay, examples. 甜蜜. 甜 means sweet, and we express sweet with the tongue and some food that's sweet that you want to keep in the mouth. So the mouth symbol with something in it means you want to hold ancient version of candy in the mouth to imply that tastes good. You want to keep it, and with the tongue, so symbolize the taste. So sugary and sweet plus me, honey, sweet honey. Okay, that's a Chinese version or translation of simply sweet, 甜蜜. So just like English, sweet could be a taste sweet, or a behavior. Somebody is sweet. So Chinese would also use 甜蜜 to describe not exactly the behavior of a particular person. Like we don't say a 甜蜜的人. Actually, we would say 甜蜜的一对儿. So we're describing the dynamic between the two persons. That shows its sweet, honeyed version dynamic. It's not about a singular person, it's sweet. So, okay, that's the distinction there. And then we see the ABB structure, 甜蜜蜜. Chinese, again, has no problems of placing exactly same character one after another. This repetition creates a certain rhythm and kind of an amplified message there. So as if like one is not enough, you have to add it, double size it, 甜蜜蜜. Give you the sense of not only sweet, it's extra sweet or super sweet. That's 甜蜜蜜. And I put it over here because there was a movie talking about the early days when China opening up, and Hong Kong was long time established international trade port and like banking place. And so mainland Chinese try to find their career paths in there. And of course, it's kind of immigrant story, local version of immigrant story of this two systems of culture. And geographically, they're not that far. Culturally, they're not that far. Even if China went through some dark times, Cultural Revolution, like totally isolated, and people were brainwashed to a good extent. And then when some adventurous people from mainland China tried to, make money, basically, find a place in Hong Kong. That's the love story happened in that setting. And the movie was called 甜蜜蜜. So it's kind of bittersweet story. Okay. 甜言蜜语. We have both 言 and 语. And I distinguished that before. And it's an interesting phenomenon that Chinese actually differentiate what is language and what is your personal language. So language is like the traffic, the road, but personal language is the choice of words, the sequencing of the words. You made it personalized. It's not a set of code that everybody uses, understand. It's your version of the sequencing of the words. Okay, so that's a distinction, 言 and 语. This is simply language, but this is language in action used by a particular person. Okay, 甜言蜜语. Here we see 甜蜜, 甜蜜蜜, and 甜言蜜语. From all three examples, we see some Chinese way to create rhythm, imagery, sweet honey, put it together, and then sweet language or words, and honeyed expression or speech. And that's, we keep pairing the sugary, the sweet with honey together. And we pair that with language and a personal expression to show that simply a sweet talking behavior. And here we go, me. Thank you for your time. See you another day.